This episode of Super Boothers is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/superboothers. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Hello and welcome to Super Boothers. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Ismail.
Thanks so much for listening, y'all.
We appreciate it.
Absolutely. We're going to talk today a little bit about, today's kind of one of those episodes where it's just, there's so much shit to talk about. We just kind of have to throw it all into one. I am beyond excited for the iPhone X.
Oh, I've actually been waiting for this for so long. My phone is like half broken and falling apart, and I was like, I'm just waiting until September so I can buy the new one. I was really looking forward to it. Unfortunately, it's very pricey.
Do you have a cracked screen on yours?
No, but my front screen's like popped out halfway. It's really weird. It's still working though.
Oh my god, it's barely hanging on, just like you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks.
Ismail and I are like super tired. Like, I know I hate people that say, oh, I'm tired. I like legit, like, I don't know how we're functioning.
Well, we were just talking about this before we got on. Like, we're really, really busy, and I think from now till the end of the year, it's just going to be this way. And I feel like a lot of listeners may relate. When
it's
the holidays,
busy season.
Yeah, it's busy season. There's just so much going on.
Today is practically like Christmas for me, just because whenever like the new iPhone thing comes out, it's just a countdown until when I can get my Christmas present in October. I think I'm really excited for wireless charging.
Yeah, I saw that too. I have a very old iPhone. I've been waiting for this. It's going to be a big leap for me. I was a little disappointed that the iPhone X or iPhone 10, whatever they call it, is delayed. So it's going to come out a little later than the other one.
I miss the days whenever Steve Jobs would like come out, he would say, oh, guess what, guys? I've created this new thing. It's where you can have music with like 10,000 songs on it, and it's available today. And then you could go out and buy it. Like, now I have to wait for this shit. Like, I can't stand this.
Well, were you happy with what you saw? Do you think that they lived up to expectations?
I am. I'm happy that that the iPhone X doesn't have a home button. I like that the screen goes all the way to the edge. I love that it has that gorgeous stainless steel all the way around. I'm just, you know what? Apple could sell like some little eye shit device and I would still buy it. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's something to learn from them about branding. Like they just, no matter what they do, it just works. And
well, that's another thing. It wasn't always like that. They really got a lot of pushback, like in the very beginning.
Well, yeah, every time they made a change, they changed the port for the charging. Everyone's like, oh, we got to buy a new thing. They made the wireless ear pods. People complain, but then after a while, they're like, wow, this is actually amazing. I've heard great things about that. And now they have the facial recognition in the new one.
That's the big thing.
So futuristic. Right? It's crazy.
That's so creepy. I wonder if it works with like twins, like if it can tell the difference.
Well, I think they made a joke about that on the announcement that it may not work with your twin, but
it's really like immersive. Like, you just like scroll through like these like little like screenshots that they have where you can do portrait mode with like a selfie now and like change the lighting. Like, I can only imagine what this is going to do. And those like little like, what are they called? Animojis?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I'm really depressed for that because I know Ismail is going to send me like stupid Animojis.
I was just going to say, be ready. That's like gifts squared.
This is a little much. I'm not sure if I'm ready for this.
But I always like following Apple. I've read the biographies of Steve Jobs. I think that there's a lot to learn from them. Like, a lot of the questions people ask in this industry, they deal with too. Like, how do you cater to lower end clientele and higher end clientele? Well, they have different products that cater to all that stuff, right?
Yeah. So it wasn't always like that.
Right, but you see them evolve.
Apple started off doing like a very tailored product that was affordable. And now they just don't have to be affordable. They can do whatever the hell they want, and we're just going to scream lining up saying, "Take our money."
It's just really interesting because they did it that way, like you said. They started off with an affordable product, but then you see someone like Tesla who did the exact opposite, where he started off with the ultra-end, high-end luxury car, got some people to buy in, and then slowly went down the chain and got to an affordable car. So it just goes to show everybody that's listening, you know, you can listen to me, you can listen to Ryan, you can watch Apple and Tesla. There's many ways to succeed. You just have to find what works for you.
We were briefly talking about technology proofing your business. And I was on the phone with Steve from Imaging Spectrum, which I can officially say now that Imaging Spectrum is a sponsor of Super Boothers, Imaging Spectrum and Darkroom. So thank you so much.
Yeah, we're really, really, really excited about that. I mean, there's a few brands in the industry that are like the titans, and I think Imaging Spectrum is up there. And they also share the same passion as us about educating people. So it's awesome news. I'm very excited.
I have been bursting with this damn secret for the longest time, and I'm finally so glad that I get to say it. So thank you so much, Imaging Spectrum. We really appreciate it. But anyways, I was having a conversation with Steve today, and we were talking about just where the industry kind of started. And I remember when, we had a printer that would only print out a 4x6. There was no 2x6 option. So we literally had to slice the photos one by one. Now I'm so lazy, I don't even have to show up to the damn thing. I send, a little robot to come pick up the photo booth. The robot delivers it. The robot sets it up, and, I don't have to do it. I'm kidding. But that's the thing here. And I can't wait till we get to that point. The industry has evolved so much, and from where it first started to where it is now it is so expansive, and there is such a wide range of, you have DSLR booths that will do, all sorts of crazy things, all the way on down to, a little iPad booth that, you can essentially turn on and, have at it. And, the customers I've seen people it's already so intuitive. They already know what to do, when before we had to explain what it was.
So I'm curious to hear what you mean when you say technology proofing, because my first initial reaction to that is that I view it as maintaining your options, like keeping doors open. And that's how I operate basically my entire life. From personal life to building software to photo booth business, I like to do things that keep my options open. And I think that's what you mean by technology proofing, right? Where you want to build your business in a way where you're not blindsided by things that may come up and have you change your business.
I go back and forth with this. There have always been friends that have told me, whenever you start a business, you need to have an exit plan. I don't think I ever agreed with that. And I don't think you can go into something like a business or a relationship or something just kind of half-heartedly. You really kind of have to go all in on it.
I got to throw in an anecdote because you mentioned that. I forgot who this was, but it's a famous, true story of this. I think it was a Mexican general in the military, and when they would sail.
Oh yeah, my cousin.
Oh, your cousin? Yeah.
Yeah, we're all related.
When they would sail the army to go fight a battle, right? He would turn around and burn his ships.
Oh, great-grandpa. Yeah, he did that.
So he would burn his ship so that there's no fallback option. You have to succeed. There's no backup plan. There's no exit strategy. You have to win.
That's the thing. That's the thing with prenups. I never did understand that. I actually do understand it now. However, if you're going to be an idealist, if I'm going to get married, this is going to be a one-time thing, let's go in it all in. Well, then you do that. Then that's how she gets all the money.
Yeah, that's actually interesting that you say that, because I guess now that I think about it, I like maintaining options whenever possible, but there's certain things where I just go all in. And I think it's hard to identify which is which. You got to go with your gut on that one, I guess.
And that's the thing is, I think that it depends on whatever the person really feels. There are people that may feel that a photo booth business is not their thing. And you know what? It doesn't have to be. I mean, there are times where you just know. I know that I've always wanted to be a photographer. Whenever I was little, I would always get a camera for my grandparents every year, a little Polaroid thing. I mean, I've had literally every camera that ever came out, and it's rather interesting to me how I knew that that's what I wanted to be. And then I go to college. That's what I ended up doing. And then at some point, life kind of gets in the way. And then, you know what? You're not doing that anymore. And right now is the first time where I'm okay, now I'm doing what I was trained to do. My degree is in radio, TV, film. So it's now it's called a communications degree. The degree doesn't even exist anymore, but it's nice that I still have that training. So I know what looks good with regard to a photo. And truthfully, I've used a lot of my degree with this podcast now.
Yeah, it came in handy.
A little handy.
So how do you, as a photo booth business owner, how do you technology proof your business? What kind of concepts do you apply to your business to prevent technology from blindsiding you?
So I've said this before, is I really think that whenever I post, whatever activation it is that we're doing, I'm selling what the output is. I'm not necessarily selling what the technology looks like. That way, like if I get to an event, and I used to do this whenever I had two different types of photo booths. Now, I mean, I still have those booths. I rarely use them. It's just, I find it that whenever you keep your client's expectation to the outcome, they don't care what the hardware is, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's true. And I also see these other booth manufacturers where they build the booth in a way where when Apple changes to the iPad or the camera size changes, it's easy to take it in and put a new one in. So they're technology proofing their business, right? So it's not just for rentals, it's for manufacturing as well.
Yeah, and I think that if you are going to have, Steve and I talked about this today, a 22-inch touchscreen. Okay, well, if that company doesn't make that anymore, that's fine. There are plenty other companies that make a 22-inch touchscreen that'll fit in there. So you're not necessarily limited to what hardware you have. You're only limited to, really the output. So I would say I'm going to sell, I would go on a stretch and say almost every photo booth software out there now can do green screen.
Yeah. I would also throw in there that I think that there's a limit to how much you can technology proof your business. Like even if you have, let's say, an iPad booth, for example, and you can run multiple software, so you're not tied to a certain software, hardware will eventually change, right? So I have some older enclosed booths where it was like Surface Pro 1 and it's getting very slow and laggy. So there's a limit to how much you can technology proof your business. After a while, you do have to splurge on upgrading things.
After a while, Ryan gets slow and laggy.
Yeah. You gotta recharge, get some sleep.
Yeah, no kidding. I really do appreciate how, for like you mentioned this with like iPad. So I built a glow booth with like LEDs and plexi and all sorts of fun stuff. And we built it with an iPad. Well, then whenever the new 12-inch iPad came out, it was really easy. All we had to do was take out the plexi, cut a different hole, and we're good to go.
Yeah. I mean, this actually, if you don't mind, we got a question submitted that kind of falls in line with this where...
Hold on. We have a question. Woo, question time. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is from Stacy Spencer. Stacy, thank you for submitting the question. I'll just summarize it here. She's kind of asking, with all the different options available for clients to choose from, like booth types, what print size, social media, et cetera, how do you balance that? What are some ways that you can educate your client without overwhelming them? And I think this is a great question for Ryan, because Ryan is always about educating your client.
Well, this isn't going to... I'll get to her question in a second, but I will say this. This actually happened today. Well, actually, yesterday, rather. So I have a client where the client doesn't necessarily know what they want. This particular client doesn't. They were just like, hey, can you be here? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Well, what am I doing? Well, whatever. Okay, so then at that point, I know that they have given me a signal that I need to give them options. So I always try and find out what it is they are trying to accomplish first. With this particular client, it is media related. So I know that they're going to do something, they're going to want to do, something GIF related or boomerang or whatever, just something digital that just kind of goes out there. To hone in on the questions, I would see what they're trying to accomplish first. Don't show them. I used to do wedding planning a long ass time ago. And there was this one invitation girl. I wanted to give her, her first client, and she was so happy. And I took my clients over and okay, let's talk invitations. What would you like to do? She hands them it was like 10 pieces of paper with all sorts of calligraphy and font options. And she goes, which one do you like? And my client is looking at just imagine a table covered full of font options that say A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The quick brown fox will jump over the, I don't know, whatever that sentence is. But I think this client was like so overwhelmed, and they were like, whoa, this is way too much. Just, can you pick for me? So I would have that be the suggestion, is just pick it for your client. Don't give them the options. Don't give them print size. Just say, listen, I would love to do this for you. We can do 3 photos. We can do your name and logo on it. We can do a 2x6 print. What do you think? They're going to say yes, because you've just done it all for them. And if they don't like anything in particular, they're going to tell you, well, you know what? Could we do a 4x6 instead? Sure.
I think that's great advice. And I'll just throw this anecdote in there because this just happened to me today. And I was just telling my team about this. So I went to the doctor for regular checkup. And I just found it so, interesting and fascinating how they don't ask me anything. Do you want this? Do you want this? They told me,
Yeah.
you're getting a blood test. They tell you you're doing this next. They tell you next week you got to do this. There's no asking. There's no, here's the list of our services. They tell you, the customer, what you need. And I just found that so interesting. Why doesn't that carry over to other businesses like us, where we're so afraid? Like, we have to show them all the options and have them select something. Tell them what they need. That's it.
I told you we're recording tonight, and you do it. I mean, no, this is the thing is you have to tell your client that you've seen more and you've done more. You are the expert. And even if you're not the expert, fake it till you make it. I mean, I would just say make the decision now, because I'm so old and decrepit. I just don't have the time for you. This is what we're doing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
I just found that such a fascinating thing, and I think we can learn something from there. Like, I just walked in for this one regular checkup, and all of a sudden I'm getting my blood pulled, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I was never asked. And they got paid for all those services. And I didn't complain. I didn't complain about it because I needed it.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, so this is the thing. So I have a client. We're doing this art exhibition, and this museum client is rather particular, as most museum clients are, and they're working with this very contemporary artist. I think the work is meant to be humorous. There's like a photo of like just a steak. There's a photo of like a piñata. It's a Mexican artist. He actually just passed away like 7 years ago. And he's like just now getting like kind of his big break. But anyways, they are doing a members only preview. They wanted to do, I guess, some sort of like photo. She goes, do whatever you want. And okay, fine. So I came up with an idea of taking a photo of like what the gallery looks like. So like you have the floor, like the little bench thing, and then you have the art on the wall. I took the art off the wall, and then I'm replacing what we do with our photo with a green screen inside that. So it looks like the guest that we're taking a photo of is like in the museum itself, and like they've created their own little art. I sent that off. They thought it was so damn groundbreaking. And I'm thinking to myself, I literally just shit this out right now. I mean, this is...
And it won't always work. Like, I had a recent example where I had a client that they use us every year. And I'm like, hey, how about this year? We do this, this, and this. Mix it up, make it different. And they came back to me and said, you know what? We want to do what we did last year. So I think what Ryan and I are saying is that you should err on the side of telling them, because even if they don't like what you say, they'll let you know. And it's not going to be the end of the world.
Sure, you make the decision, you put everything together and say, please approve. It's a one-word response that you're looking for. They're most likely going to fire that off. And if they actually have a legitimate issue with it, then they're going to tell you. But it's more of a tweak than starting from the very beginning.
And I love that please approve line. I used to say things like, let me know what you think.
Nope, stupid.
And it just goes into this whole snowball thing where
rabbit hole.
I started just saying, please approve. Let me know if there's any like spelling errors or something. And it's much smoother. So I like that tip.
I think we have another question. Question.
Hello, Super Boothers. I'm Jasser Bajimi from Edmonton, Alberta. I wanted to thank you guys again for creating your show. I love Super Boothers. I'm always learning more and feeling inspired to create and grow my business even more. Today, my question for you is about creating guarantees for your clients. I want to create something like a money-back guarantee or a satisfaction guarantee, but I'm worried that there's going to be some crazy brides out there or people who just are looking for ways to get their money back that are going to maybe take advantage of this and be looking for reasons to get that money back. I'm very confident in our systems and our process for our clients, and we are successful at satisfying most of our clients. But every once in a while, you just get that one that's kind of crazy and wants their money back. So I'm not sure what to do about that. Please let me know what your thoughts are about how that would work in our business.
Don't do it. I think that's the best answer that I can give, only because I deal with volume. And whenever you have volume, there's a percentage that's going to be unhappy no matter what you do. I think that for me, that number is drastically smaller than it used to be. Only I think it's just because of installing systems and, getting into your groove and making sure your client knows what's going on. And funny enough, I will say this. I remember way back when I used to have like 2 photo booth options, and there were times where something would happen with one, so I would send the other. There were times where people got pissed and would send me an email wanting their money back because I sent the wrong booth, even though the booth that I sent was like more expensive.
So I hope this doesn't confuse Jasser. Thank you for the question, by the way. But why wouldn't you offer some kind of guarantee?
I think that whenever you deal with the public, they're always going to look for something, and they're just looking for problems at that point. And I mean, I can find problems with everything that we do. And I mean, there are some people that will go out there that will just like, oh, I'm just going to write this pissed off email. I don't really feel it, but I'm just going to try and see what I can get out of them. I mean, you just never know. And that comes to the issue of people writing pissed off reviews whenever like they have like no intention of, like, the goal is just to get money back, or like extort you for a bad review unless you give me money back.
So let me ask it this way before I tell my opinion. Ryan, I'm assuming you don't offer a guarantee. It doesn't sound like you do. What if you had a client that was very upset and complained and did all the stuff that you just said? What would you do?
Sure, I give them your money back.
So in effect, you're doing the same thing without the guarantee, right? You're still giving them the money back.
I'm not going to advertise it. If someone has a legitimate problem, I want them to come to me. If you do something, this is again just my opinion. If you do something like a money back guarantee, they're going to be looking for a problem that not necessarily is legitimate. Like that's the thing that I have is, and this also goes back to contracts, because there was someone here and there that asked a question about, I guess like the planner like threw them under the bus. It was a planner that was pissed off, not necessarily the bride and the groom. That's the issue that I have here is, if they're going to say, well, you stopped for 15 minutes, so we want to be reimbursed, 50%. Well, no. And that's another thing that your contract should back up. I have it to where I have 80% uptime. So I need to be providing a photo booth for 80% of the time that's working. 20% of the time is used for technical problems and maintenance, switching out paper, changing out camera, battery, whatever. And that's like, that I think is the condition that's already in your contract. Your money back guarantee should be in your contract to some form or another.
So I guess this can be its whole show on its own, but I think it's a complicated question because, a lot of people do offer money back guarantees. A lot of big brands, a lot of big retailers, a lot of online marketers, they do it so it can work. But this is just another one of those things where like there's multiple ways of succeeding, right? So Ryan doesn't do it, it works.
Well,
and
so
people do it, and it does work. And I think what you have to look at, the reason, and I've researched this a bit, the reason why some people do it is because they see an increase in sales and conversions by offering it, which offsets the amount of people that actually take them up on it. So yeah, there will be people that do complain and do try to take advantage of that. Absolutely. But net, do you actually benefit by offering it because you get more people to just pick you? I think that's what you got to really look at.
So this is something that Ismail and I will be offering in the upcoming months. We are going to be doing an e-course on Google AdWords. I will say this, and I really haven't discussed this with Ismail, but
I'm about to say what we're officially doing it, I guess.
Here it comes. No, so this is the thing. We will be doing a Google AdWords e-course that will be for a fee, and you know what? I will absolutely throw a money back guarantee on that one. This is the caveat with an e-course doing a money back guarantee. I know that the systems that we have work. I know that they've been proven. There's no doubt in my mind that it will not work for you. The issue that I have here is the money back guarantee. I'm not going to give you your money back if you bought the thing, you open it and you're like, this isn't for me. No, not going to work. Not going to fly. That's like going to a restaurant, ordering a burger. The burger comes out. It's not cooked right. You eat the damn burger and then say, you know what? I don't like it. Get out of my restaurant.
Well,
that's just shady. If you do the e-course, you tell me that you have done the work and you prove to me that you've done the work and it did not work for you, here is your money back. I have failed you.
But that's an important distinction that you just made, is that it matters how you craft the guarantee. So you're offering a guarantee, but they have to show you that they did it, right?
Absolutely. So I don't think this necessarily would apply to a photo booth, because for the money back guarantee, first of all, you're dealing with a higher dollar amount. That I think is something that you have to consider. And then you also have to consider, life. Florida just got knocked out. Houston just got knocked out. California is up in flames right now. I mean, there are just certain life factors that, you know what, there may be a good chance that if I'm in Houston and there's a downpour, I might be a little late to your event.
I'm just going to have a different opinion here, because I think if those things happen, regardless if you have a guarantee, you would still do the right thing as a business owner and take care of the client, refund the client, whatever. I'm just going to say that it's a complicated thing. You could use guarantees if you craft them correctly to increase the amount of sales you get, and you have to understand that some people will take advantage. That doesn't mean that it wouldn't work. I think Ryan and I will differ there, and it's up to you to see what works better for you.
What else we got to talk about?
Sorry, Jasser. I think that was really nice that you teased that e-course. A lot of people have been asking about Google AdWords. I don't know if I've mentioned it before on the show, but I actually get a huge majority of my business simply only through Google AdWords. So I know that it's very effective, and hopefully we can help people with that, because a lot of people have been asking about it. But there's one other thing that we're really, really excited about. Right, Ryan?
September 25th is Super Boothers Do Dallas.
We've talked about how awesome the New York one ended up being, and we're trying to take it a step up for this one. So if you're anywhere near...
And I can say this, Imaging Spectrum is sponsoring our swag bags.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. We've got the support of a big company like Imaging Spectrum. We've got the W. We'll have some surprises there. We'll have some people that were on the show there. I think if you're anywhere near the area, you got to do everything you can to show up there, and it'll be well worth your while. I think the energy in the room, if like Jasser mentioned on the question that he gets inspired by listening to the show, just imagine how you'll feel being in a room full of other people doing the same business, trying to grow their business.
New York was so fun. It was, whenever we do this podcast, I make a lot of jokes. Some of them play, some of them don't. However, whenever we're just speaking into this microphone, we don't get to see or hear how people react. And whenever we did our event, it was so nice to people were taking notes. It was nice to say something, and then people are nodding their head, and you're like, okay, great. Now this is feedback. I can work with this. Because other than that, I won't know until, so this episode will air, and then I'll get messages from people, and, that's how I know and can gauge the success of it. But until then, I have to wait until the thing airs. So it's nice to get instant gratification on our end. That way we know that you're responding to things and know that what we're saying is actually making sense, and we're not just spewing words out into the air.
Yeah, and I love being in the environment as well, and I'm flying all the way down there just to be there with everyone that's listening. So it's worth the trip. Hopefully we'll get to do a lot more of these in the future and get all around the country. So we'll see what happens.
Thank you so much for joining us today on this lovely Wednesday. Super Boothers Do Dallas is available for purchase at superboothers.com. Tickets are $75, and it's from 7 to 10 at the W Dallas Victory. It's going to be an amazing night. We're doing a couple of question and answer episodes coming up, so please submit your questions. And here's the tip: the voice questions almost automatically get on the air. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.